Hello, everybody. It's Ann popping to you in my kitchen tonight. Some new recipes and some new products. I thought this would be a perfect way to kick off the week. So it's Monday night, and maybe you don't know what's for dinner yet, and maybe I can help because I'm going to try a new recipe out. So you guys might as well be the guinea pigs while I talk about some things that are new too. I don't know if you know about sheet pan cooking, but it's kind of the same concept as one pot cooking, but instead one sheet pan cooking. So I want to take a minute to talk about sheet pans because we have really big, I have parchment paper underneath a big one. Down here we have lots of sizes, but this fall we actually introduced a modular sheet pan set too, which comes with this pan and two much smaller pans. So if you're doing sheet pan cooking and not everything is done at the same time or needs the same amount of cooking time, that's when you would use modular sheet pans. So it's something that you might want to take a look at on my website. And there is so many resources for sheet pan cooking. So if you want to use your oven and you want to save some time, give sheet pan cooking a try. And tonight we're going to make a new recipe featuring a sheet pan. It's called sheet pan sticky sweet and sour chicken. So I'm still getting used to this new device following me all over. But so I have a bigger size sheet pan here that I put a piece of parchment on because that's what the instructions tell me to do. And I already have one chicken breast cubed up in my stainless bowl with some eggs and pepper. But I'm going to do another one. And I'm just going to grab a glove here because you guys know how much I like working with raw chicken. So we are going to do this with chicken breast tonight, but you could also use chicken thighs if you wanted, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So I'm just going to cut my chicken breast into 3 chunks here so I can get it to cut for me. I'm using the shears instead of a knife because when you have wet, slimy, raw chicken breast like this, a shears is so much quicker work. So just cut it into some pieces and drop it right in the bowl with the egg wash. And I'll do it here quick. And then it goes through another step where we're going to dredge it in some flour. And this is a sweet and sour sticky chicken recipe. So there is ground ginger in the flour mixture too. So that's kind of the beginning of the flavoring. So there's only pepper in with an egg and there's only ground ginger in with the flour. So just about there. Okay, so the tray with the chicken, the shears are all going to the sink. And I'm just going to make sure that I have all of the chicken pieces wet. So what I did was just beat up 1 egg and put it in here, and then about a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And then we have coating trays in our Pampered Chef line that come with these awesome small tongs. And so I'm actually using an older style coating tray right here that has the flour and ginger in it, so you can kind of see it's a different color. But I'm just going to lay pieces of chicken in the tray really quickly with these tongs, kind of dredging them basically is what I'm doing. And you don't have to be super particular about this because basically what you're wanting to do is just coat them. So just flip them over and coat them lightly. And then on the big sheet pan, you're going to put the chicken all on one end. So I'm going to take all of this chicken and just plop it on one end of my pan. And that'll leave room on the other end for some other things here. So I don't know if this is following me along, but I'll lift it up and show you again. So again, next batch of chicken. You can't quite dump it all in at once because you do want to coat each piece. While I'm doing that, a couple other things that are new with Pampered Chef this month, you guys. September is always the beginning of our fall season, which is really fun. So we have new catalogs. So if you need one, pop a message. We have new products, so many of them. In fact, we even really expanded the pantry line, which is something I'm super excited about because the pantry line is our food line. It's also our seasonings, sauces, oils, and rubs. And tonight I'm using a couple of those products, and I'll mention them to you as I go along. But one of the coolest things for those of you, if you're watching, and I see some people have joined me, so I'm excited, you guys can comment and say hi or ask questions because I can see you now with this new device. I guess I can't see you, but I can read what you type. But one of the things that solves meal solutions from Pampered Chef, if you don't know what to make, is our meal prep subscription called Taste Buds. And Taste Buds comes once a month, and you can just try it for a month if you want, or you can sign up for 3 months or 6 months. But every single month you will get 2 or 3 pantry products. I think it's always been 3 so far, with feature main dish recipes to help your meal solution. And then you can use groceries that are already in your own home. And then there is at least 9 more sub recipes. So you're going to get like a dozen ideas from us. And this month it's on sale. The whole Taste Buds group is 20% off. As is the Enrichables, which the Enrichables are the line where you can add like super veggies. If you're worried about not eating nutritious enough, you can add super veggies, you can add kale and fiber, or you can add pea protein to things, and there's no flavor change, you won't know. Those are also on sale this month. So it's a great way to kick off a new fall season. So you can pop in and take a look at those too. All right, I almost have the chicken done here. This is like the most tedious part of the whole recipe, is kind of dredging the chicken and coating it. And if you guys don't have parchment paper in your life, that's what this brown paper is. It's unwaxed, not like waxed paper. It allows for super even baking results and super fast cleanup. So I love using parchment paper. There are some people that do all their baking with parchment paper, like making all their chocolate chip cookies and everything. So, okay, so we have the chicken on half of the pan. And then sitting here, I have broccoli, 1 lonely pepper, some shallots, and then I've already halved up some mushrooms. And so I'm just going to dump all the mushrooms in. I'll toss that over out of the road. And the recipe actually calls for quite a few more peppers than what we have, but we don't actually love peppers anyway, so I'm not worried. I just substituted mushrooms instead. So just drop the peppers on like that. And then I'm just going to kind of quarter up the shallots. And if you haven't looked for or found shallots, they're generally in the produce section. Here in town, if you guys are local, here in town you can buy them by the onions. And they're usually on the top shelf, more like where they keep the garlic. So I'm just going to piece up the shallots because I don't want them real fine, because I want this to all bake at the same time. Carly's telling me parchment paper is a lifesaver when it comes to cleanup. You are absolutely right, Carly. And when you see the way this recipe finishes, you're going to know why it calls for parchment paper, because it does. It saves so much cleanup time. And then you want to put on as much broccoli as you think you guys want. Again, in just some roasted piecing sizes, so they're similar in size. So I'm just taking some of this fresh broccoli and adding it. And then while this is cooking in the oven, I will show you all the ingredients that go in the sauce to make this the sticky sweet and sour. I think a couple more pieces and then it'll be really nicely full. Okay, so we have chicken on one end and we have all the vegetables on the other end. And then I have some of our garlic canola oil. And the recipe says to just drizzle garlic canola oil over all of these, and you need about 3 to 4 tablespoons. So as you can see, I'm just drizzling it over the pan. And I did preheat the oven pretty hot, like 475 degrees to start this recipe. So I have it at 475, and I'm going to peek at the recipe notes here and see what it tells me to do. But we're going to take this whole pan and just pop it in the oven, so it can start the first stage of roasting, and it's for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to set that quick. Now, if you don't have a timer on your stove that you really like, or you're doing more than one timing of things, maybe you have 3 things going on at once, I'm super excited to tell you that Pampered Chef's famous digital timer is back, but better than ever. You guys, you can be timing 4 things across the bottom, 4 different things at once, and it's super easy to use. Plus, it still has the magnet on the back, so you could put it on your refrigerator or put it on any type of magnetic field. Let's see, actually, I'll unhook it here. And it would even go like there up above on my microwave. So I love that. So the digital timer is back. And then a couple other new things. I mentioned the pantry products that we're going to use in the sauce in a minute. So let me just grab these. So here's some pantry products brand new for the fall season. If you want convenience, this chocolate chip cookie mix is also gluten-free for all my gluten-free friends. Here you go. Here's a sweet treat. And then if you happen to not need gluten-free and want a really, really wonderful quick bread, this caramel latte bread, and it makes great loaf of bread or great muffins. And then 2 seasonings that actually came out a couple months ago that are getting just lots and lots of love on social media and places like Half Baked Harvest, which is a website and a social media influencer that has wonderful recipes. In fact, that's where I got the sheet pan sticky sweet and sour chicken recipe from tonight, was from her, from Half Baked Harvest. But these 2, seasoning salt and rotisserie seasoning. So, you know, we've shown a lot of love for the air fryer over the last few months. And if you want to do an entire chicken in your air fryer, you can. And if you want it to be rotisserie seasoning like you would maybe buy at Fairway or Costco or somewhere like that, this seasoning is wonderful. And the seasoning salt, it can really replace your Lowry's purchases. Really fresh, really great. So those are some pantry things that I absolutely love. And now, while I have several things sitting back here because we're going to make the sauce, so I'm not quite sure how this device is going to work. I'm going to try to move it forward with me a little bit. So we'll see, because the sauce is going on top of the stove and it's going to use several of the ingredients that I have sitting over here. So let's see if it can follow me around a little bit. It's getting better. So this is a sauce that you need to cook. So while the rest of the meal is going in the oven, you're going to make the sauce on top of the stove. But guess what? Here's the new sauce whisk that I'm going to use to make it. You guys, this is heat resistant. This is perfect for cooking on top of your stove. We used to have a black nylon one that people absolutely loved. This is tons more heavy duty, okay? So we are definitely going to use it. The very first thing I'm doing is using our spicy pineapple rum sauce, a whole cup of it. The recipe actually calls for a whole cup of sweet Thai chili. We love the spicy pineapple rum sauce, so that's what I'm using because it's from our pantry line. So it's sold in a big bottle like this, all right? So I'm putting a whole cup of that in the saucepan, and I'll grab another scraper quick and clean that out because I think I need my measuring cup for something else. I'm just going to follow along and do this as I'm talking to you guys. So the next thing is 1/3 cup of soy sauce. So I've got my soy sauce. And one of the really great things about these easy read measuring cups like I'm using right down here in front of me, I'll lift it up so you can see it till the camera catches up, is you leave them on the surface to read the measurement mark. So if you guys are following along with me, the 3rd line, I can see it right there, and I know that's 1/3 cup, and I didn't have to lift up anything, and there's nothing spilling over the sauce, okay? And Yvonne, I'm looking at your comment. So the new chocolate chip cookies are gluten-free, and then we have something else gluten-free too, and I'm drawing an absolute blank. I think it's the brownie mix. But help me out, Erin, if you're still on here, or if somebody else is on here that already knows the answer, could you pipe in what the other gluten-free new item in the pantry line is? That would be great. Plus, lots of our spices and rubs are also gluten-free, so you can take a look at that. It's marked on our site, so you can see that. So 1/3 cup of soy sauce is going in. Then after the soy sauce, we need 1/2 cup of apple juice. So that one's not quite enough. So I have another one here. Woo! That's why I'm the pampered chef, not the perfect chef, as I drop something on the floor. Half a cup of apple juice. At least it's nothing that needed to be put in the recipe. It was just the cap. So I'm going to add the apple juice to the sauce recipe. I'm going to turn the burner on so it starts. One more measure. Actually, I'm going to use this one. It's a little cleaner. This one only goes up to 1/4 of a cup. And I need 1/4 of a cup of rice wine vinegar. And if you guys haven't bought rice wine vinegar much in your life, this is a really common ingredient in a lot of salad dressings. So if you make your own salad dressing, I promise you it's so much better. And that's a pretty common ingredient. So I'm adding in 1/4 of a cup of the rice wine vinegar. Then I'm going to use the slidable, adjustable measuring spoons. I need a tablespoon of ketchup. So we will do it right over the pan here. In my measuring spoon, add the ketchup. Ooh, it's starting to look good and it smells good. Then I need a tablespoon of creamy peanut butter. And you guys, you know what? I don't have a second measuring spoon out here. And I cook often enough, so I'll just guess. So I'm just going to take creamy peanut butter and say that looks about like a tablespoon and add that in there so you don't have to wait for me to wash something. And then you take a jalapeno, and I'm going to go back down here to the cutting board. Maybe this little device will follow me along. And you want to seed and chop this fine to put in the sauce. So to do that, I just take the tip off the bottom so it's now flat so I can stand it up and then use a really sharp knife and you kind of shave the sides so that it keeps the seeds in the middle. See that? And then that way you're not having to scoop out near as many seeds when you get to the end. I'll just put the last piece down. One needs a little cleanup. And then I'm going to just really quickly grab my food chopper because I forgot to grab that out. And I'm going to take the jalapeno pieces and chop it really fine. And then we're going to lift and move these into the saucepan. So now I'm going to take, I think there's something else, but I'll come back to it. I'm going to bring this over so you guys can see it. Garlic is the last thing we have to add. So 2 cloves of fresh garlic using the garlic press. So again, you do not have to peel these. You can just literally put the clove of garlic inside. Squeeze the garlic right over top of this saucepan. You'll see it, I think, coming out. That is all wonderful fresh garlic. You want it all, so go ahead and make sure you get it in. You can open up the skin, or open up the garlic press, and take out the skin. Put the other clove in. Do the same thing. So now you bring this sauce, as I'm going to whisk it together here. It tells me that I go over medium-high heat, which I'd say that's about where I'm at. And I bring it to a boil, and I boil it for 5 to 8 minutes until the sauce thickens and reduces in quantity. So we'll see if I can give you guys a sneak peek as I'm mixing it. So it's that dark color. So it's not going to be red like a sweet and sour sauce. Okay, it's going to be that true sweet and sour color. There's no coloring that we're going to add to it. So you take that, bring it to a boil it for 5 to 8 minutes so it's reduced by at least 1/3. Then you open up the oven after the 15 minutes are up and you pour that over top the chicken and the pasta and stir them a little bit so it gets on both sides. And it goes back in the oven for about 3 minutes is all. You do turn the oven down from 475 to 400, and it's back in for about 3 minutes, but it says to really watch closely because it can burn really quickly. And then we'll just serve it over rice. So it's a super easy one pot, one pan, sheet pan recipe for tonight. And then just a couple other new things I wanted to mention as I give this one more stir. I think I popped on last week and told some of you about this grater that I'm absolutely in love with. But I also wanted to give a shout out to my friends who are baster fans, because we have a new and improved baster in the line. And if you happen to look, I'll open it up for you. We also have the cleaning brush for it. So I know people that use this for everything from basting that ham and turkey to also using it to clean up some grease off of some ground meats and things that they're working with. So the baster's in the line now, and then this double-sided covers so it's safe. Look at the size of those graters. I love this for cheese and vegetables. And then the other side is a really fine. And you can use it like this, like a tripod. And in fact, it has a little grating container you can set it on. But it also pops apart. So if you want, you can just use one of them over top a bowl. But look at that. It stores back flat so that you can put it even in a drawer. So I'm in love with this. There's lots of other new fall things too. So feel free to pop on and take time to look at them. It's just a fun season. The other thing is I will watch the comment feed in case one of you guys see something you want to know about. I'll put the answer in there. If you need a catalog, I'll let you know. And Yvonne, I don't think anybody answered your question, so I will pop back on once I have the answer, and I'll put it in the comments so that you will know what else is gluten-free. Okay, so thanks for joining me live tonight, you guys. I know it was a little bit longer than normal, but I wanted you to see this new recipe and catch a few new things. Have a great Monday. See you soon.